Hi guys, it's Jamie again, and I just wanted to say a quick little sorry for not releasing any videos recently. I've been absolutely addicted to Dark Souls, and I've been streaming it for about 16 hours a day on Twitch, so yeah. In regards to me playing For Honor, I've been taking a little bit of a step down from the amount that I used to play For Honor, just until they get the game fixed. You know, I still have full faith that they will fix the game eventually, and I'm just biding my time until then. But in the meantime, I'll still be releasing videos in hopes that they'll be useful for people when the game does get more balanced and more competitive, more fun for everyone. I want to be producing more videos in general on this channel, but I'm not entirely sure what people want to see, what you guys want to see. So if you guys could let me know what sort of things you want to see, what you want from me, that would be really useful to me. They don't even have to necessarily be on For Honor. So yeah. Anyway, today we're going to take a look at the Berserker. In my opinion, probably the second sexiest character for the Vikings. Third sexiest character for the Vikings. I mean, Raiders, female Raiders pretty sexy. Valkyrie's pretty sexy. Yeah, third. As with the vast majority of the lineup, Berserker suffers from a lack of mechanics in the current meta. Seriously speaking, just suffers from a lack of chip damage. Without it, Berserker can wail on her opponent literally all day and do 0 damage and never kill her opponent. So yeah, that's an issue. Regardless, let's run through her damage numbers in a bit of detail, and then we'll go through her mechanics and her maximum punishes. I think that for a lot of people, what shines most about Berserker is her DPS. Her individual heavies are all really quite fast and do a good amount of damage, and her lights are on the upper end. There are a few important things to note about her damage values. First, her follow-up lights and her follow-up heavies do close to the same damage. Follow-up lights doing only 12, and her follow-up heavies only doing 20. Another thing to note is her follow-up top heavy, which does a ridiculous amount of damage. It does 55 damage. That's more than most things in the game. I think the only thing that beats it out in one hit is a charged up Shulgoki heavy. Lastly, throwing in any direction with Berserker after a guard break is going to get you an extra 8 damage. This is unique to Berserker, and it can be useful for just adding that little bit extra. Now, mechanics to be aware of when you're playing Berserker. She gets armor on her second hit in a string. This can be so strong if used in the right circumstances, but generally speaking, it doesn't really do that much. So if you're continuing with an attack string, one of the ones listed in your moveset with any hero, including Berserker, you're going to get parried pretty much 100% of the time. So this isn't what you want to do. And that's the only seemingly possible way to get this armored strike up. How I tend to do it is in more of a predictive manner, and that is if you feel like your opponent's going to throw an attack, you want to trade it with this armored hit. So the way you want to do this is you want to space up a little bit, throw your light attack and whiff it, and as your opponent's attacking, you go through with your top heavy, trading whatever damage they do for the 55 damage that you do. That's going to outtrade most things, like I said before. Something you need to pay attention to is whether your read is correct or not. If your opponent doesn't throw an attack or they cancel their attack, then you want to paint your top heavy, because otherwise you're going to give away a free parry. Another really important mechanic with Berserker that only Berserker and Nobushi can do is to dash your attack recoveries. So what I mean by this is when you throw an attack, you have a little bit of downtime afterwards where you're not able to do anything, and you can actually dash these as Berserker and with Nobushi as well. Some attacks have particularly large recoveries, namely the top heavy when you whiff it, and a good player is going to want to punish this with some attacks or with an uncountable guard break. And there is something you can do about this. If they're going for the attacks, then you can dash it, even if you're in recovery on Berserker. And if they're going for the guard break, then you might want to throw a dash light, which will cancel out the guard break. The issue with this is that if they know you're going to do it, they'll just wait for the parry, and a parry on a light is going to give them more damage than the guard break most of the time anyway. This leads on to another very important thing to know, and that is don't use your dash attacks. Just don't use them. Like, except in very specific circumstances, they're gonna get parried 100% of the time. And with Berserker, you're gonna give away a light parry, which is a lot of damage. Most of the time, more damage than a guard break. So yeah, be careful. Next, we're gonna get onto the easy bit, and that is what to do when you parry an opponent. Now for Berserker, If you parry a light attack, if you parry a heavy attack, no matter which character it's from, you're going to get a top heavy every time. And that is 38 damage for you, which is good damage. There are a couple situations where you don't want to do this because you can net bigger damage, and I'll explain those to you right now. First and foremost, if they are in range of your guard break after the parry and they're close enough to a wall, you want to throw them into a wall into top heavy instead. This is because the throw will give you 8 damage like I mentioned before, so in total you get 46 damage. Secondly, and this one's huge because if you miss out on it, you're missing so much damage, and that is if your parry puts them out of stamina, or if they're out of stamina generally. Your parry is the thing that puts them out of stamina. What you want to do instead is guard break them and throw them forwards. Here you do a side heavy into a top heavy while they're on the ground, and in total this is going to get you 96 damage. 96 damage comes from the 8 damage from throw, then the 33 damage from the side heavy, then the ridiculous 55 damage from the top heavy. For those of you who don't already know, this is going to outright kill a shinobi. The next situation that's sort of similar to this is if the attack itself from your opponent put them out of stamina. Not your parry, but the attack itself. So your parry is going to make them go to ground without you guard breaking them at all. Here you don't want to guard break them because it will be counter guard breakable. I don't know why, it's just always been the case, so just be careful. So you just let them go to ground from the parry, and then you do the side heavy into top heavy. This is only going to be 88 damage. I say only, 88 is ridiculous amounts of damage, but it's not quite the 96 from before because you don't get the throw. And the very last thing that I want to talk about is Berserker's zone attack. It's awful. Don't use it. Even if you hit the first portion of it, the latter portions are still parryable, and they get a bigger punish than the damage you do to them with the zone. The only way I've ever seen this being made to work is by players exploiting the use of unlock bugs, and therefore they're not going to get parried. But that's just cheap. You're throwing out a no-risk chance for damage. Yeah, but that's it for my video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. As per usual, subscribe if you want to get a notification for my future content. Like and comment so I can know where to make these things better. Again, I do stream on Twitch for all those people who have been asking. The link is in the description, so check that out if you want to come and keep me company while I play some video games. Yeah, thanks for watching again, guys.